Hi, this is Andre Cohen. I want to say thank you so much for joining us for another conversation. I've been working on this equity versus equality thing, and I don't know why I'm stuck on this, but it just seems like the more the pieces I do, the more my feed gets inundated either with questions or comments or thoughts about it. Just wanted to share some stuff that came up these last couple of days. So we'll start at the back, and then we'll work our way forward, right? Many of us have seen this picture of equity versus equality and the sense of liberation or freedom or inclusion, and there are a number of challenges with this. And I just grabbed this image, so I don't endorse or whatever the organization that reposted this, but this is a pretty common explanation. And there are lots of challenges when you take a complex uh, uh, relational interchange and try to make it into a 2D diagram, right, or chart or picture or infographic, if you will, right? So there are lots of challenges with this, and to try to avoid some of those challenges, I've been looking for other models, and so there's this model, and then I also found this other model that talks about this idea of equality and equity being a particular way in which we travel or whatever, and and again, this particular model has some challenges, given lots of other things, right? So there's not a whole lot of conversation about the relationship between how we move from one place to another or whatever, and particularly in the institutions that I work in or work with, relationship drives everything. So if I'm just giving resources, but there's not a relationship to understand how to use those resources, to get feedback about those resources, to check in on how people feel, so whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it's customer service, all of those things require some relationship. And so this particular model kind of lacks that relationship. And so what I've kind of settled on is this model, which really is about not only maximizing the potential of the individual, but recognizing that there's a context, recognizing that there's a requirement of a relationship on both, from both parties in the relationship, right? So I really like using this kind of plant model, right? So they need things equally, and there are things that are universal that these plants need. However, there are unique qualities to each plant that require a specific way of interacting, right? So this equality versus equity is not a zero-sum game. So you don't have to choose one or the other. So I'm really excited about this model. And so I was going through this model yesterday, and apparently my 6-year-old overheard my explaining these things, and so at breakfast she was talking about how to interact with a cactus and why you need to make sure that you act differently with a cactus than we do with our spider plant, right? And she's making these analogies, and I'm just like, huh. So apparently this is a proud dad moment. So my daughter is listening to this, and so she's explaining it like she probably overheard, right? Which I'm delighted. I am absolutely delighted. And so when I came into the office today, this is what my daughter presented. She put on my desk so that I would remember what she talked about. And so this is one of those proud dad moments that really accentuates that even a child could understand this idea that this plant, along with the other plants, needs very similar things, but this plant in particular needs very specific things. And that, when we start talking about human relationships, it's not about what's easy for us, right? So anybody can do that. But for leaders, it becomes important to recognize that we have the opportunity to give individuals what they need as opposed to just giving them what is easiest for us. And so for the general population of folks, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, or the golden rule, right? But for leaders, it really requires us to take that up a notch and recognize that if we want to be effective, we have to give people what they need, as well as providing these opportunities for people to learn and grow. And so this the cactus will stay here for a little while, but I think it'll need some sun and some water, and I don't have either in my office. So just want to say thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing who you become as we continue these conversations around the issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I look forward to seeing who we become. This is Andre. Bye.